Alright everybody, hello, and this is Harry James Taylor for Boomer Sooner 1982. It's a post-game report for OBU women's basketball where the women continue to be on a hot streak. They take two more games. First, coming against, at least by the pollsters, preseason number one, at least in the conference, Big Bad Texas. Took them down by 11 before going on the road into kind of a quirky little, basically it was a field house. A lot smaller than more like a gym than an arena in Fort Worth, but hold them off there in Fort Worth also. The win against Texas in Norman for the Red River rivalry, 71-60, and the women's version of TCU Oklahoma in Fort Worth, unlike the football version, kind of went OU's way, but was very tight in the game. And 97-81 doesn't really condone how this game was played. We'll get into that and a whole lot more coming up next on Boomer Sooner 1982 post-game show for this week in Oklahoma women's basketball. Be right back. And welcome back, as we said. My name's Harry James, and the Oklahoma Sooners pull off an upset in women's basketball against Big 12 favorite, Big Bad Texas. The Shorthorns get shortened again. Happened in football, happened in men's basketball, now it's happened in women's basketball. However, in women's basketball, it was in Norman, but it was still a big win. And the name of this game, besides the Red River rivalry, was free throws. There were a ton of those taken in this rivalry game this time around. But as far as the game's concerned, Texas, first half statistics, from the inside the arc from 2-point range, shot 25.7%, and from 3-point percentage, shot 16.7% from 3-point line. Oklahoma, the home team, they shot 32.1% from inside the arc and 27.3% from the 3-point line. After intermission, Texas again shot just 26.7%, so a little bit better from 2-point range, and 18.2% from behind the arc. While Oklahoma in the first half, in the second half, shot 37.5% in the first half and 28.6% from behind the arc in the second half. And the game statistic-wise, Texas Longhorns shot 26.2% from inside the arc and 17.4% from the 3-point line, while the Sooners shot 34.6% from inside the arc and 27.8% from the 3-point line. Statistical leaders in this one, very proud of this young lady. Tore her ACL, same ACL by the way, twice. And for women, it's really hard to come back from one ACL injury. She came back from it twice. She hasn't played in quite a few months, year and a half, I believe, but finally got back out there, played significant minutes that night against Texas, and the point leader, number 23, Maddie Manning, got back out there, her first of major minutes, scoring 14 points to lead the Sooners with points. Assists, the same player, aforementioned number 23, Maddie Manning, as well as probably the loudest person on the court, number 21, Gabby Ortiz, and probably the sharpest shooter on the court, Shereen Campbell. All three of those players combined for 2 assists on the night. And the rebounding leader was Peyton Little. She had 10 boards on the night in the Sooners' victory over the Longhorns. And the shot of the game was a layup by Vionice Pierre-Louise. She made a layup late in the second half to kind of seal the deal, to kind of put the game away for Oklahoma. After that game against the Texas Longhorns, the Sooners' winning streak continued against the TCU Horned Frogs. As the Sooners hold off some pesky Horned Frogs in Fort Worth, 97-81. Your final there in Fort Worth. This was a 16-point game, but it really wasn't 16 points. What had really happened in this ball game is it was really kind of nip and tuck there in the first half, and in the second half, as you can tell by the statistics. But what really ended up happening was the Sooners really hit a stride. We really hit a stride, I'm going to say, to kind of start the second half. And it was a pretty big run, and except for that one run, big run by the Sooners, I think it was 16-2 or something like that. Except for that one run, it was a pretty tight ball game until the end, and in the end, it got a little out of hand, but nothing, no suspensions were laid out or anything as far as that's concerned, which is always a good thing. You never want suspensions or the Big 12 to have to come down onto penalties or anything like that, and that really didn't need to happen. It's just 2 players. The particular play I'm talking about involved one of my favorite players on this team, Peyton Little. Her dad, David Little, played on the men's half of OU men's basketball in the 70s for Tubbs and in that era. But anyway, she, the niece, really got kind of into a rebounding tassel with a TCU player. They teed the TCU player up. They did not tee up Peyton, and it ended up being really that's how it really ended up getting out of hand there. But the game itself, the rest of the game, went like this. In the first half, Oklahoma shot the lights out of the nets in that old TCU stadium. How far off the nets? Well, how about this? 64.3% from inside the arc and 73.0% from outside the arc. It's shooting the ball pretty well, isn't it? I would say so. TCU also shot the ball well, shooting 50.0% inside the arc and 41.2% from the three-point line. Second half, Oklahoma shot 53.1% from inside the arc and 42.9% from the three-point line. TCU in the second half shot 60% from inside the arc and 62.5% from outside the arc. For the game, the Sooners shot 58.3% from inside the arc and 60% from the three-point line. TCU, they shot 54.2% from inside the arc and 48.0% from outside the arc. Statistical leaders in this ball game, Kalen Williams, Number 42, KK, had another big night for her. The student out of Midwest City Bomber bombed in 25 on this night in Fort Worth. Assist leader was number 25, Julia Carter. She had 5 dimes on the night. And then the rebounding leader was number 42, Kaylin Williams. 12 rebounds for the Midwest City Bomber. Shot of the game was when Julia Carter actually hit a 3-point shot, and it was assisted by the aforementioned number 42, Kaylin Williams. So, 2 big wins for the Sooners. Next up is Memorial Day Bedlam, and then Military Appreciation Day against Texas Tech. The softball team will be at that game against Tech. They'll be doing autographs from an hour outside of the game until tip. So that hour window, if you want to get the autographs of a couple of a team that has been to a couple of World Series, College World Series out in Oklahoma City, a couple of Big 12 championships, you can get their autographs at the game, at the Texas Tech game. Also, the left fielder Lauren Chamberlain will be doing the national anthem for that women's tilt against the Raiders. I'll be there. Hope y'all will be too. But as far as this week's concerned, a sweep for the women's Sooners again, 71-60 over Texas, and 97-81 over TCU. This has been Boomer Sooner 1982. Thanks for watching, everybody. And as always, Boomer Sooner, everybody. Take care.